Everybody, this is call to order City of San Ramon Parks and Community Services Commission regular meeting on May 14, 2025. The time is 7:01 p.m. Is there an echo here, some?
Your residency, you sound great.
Great.
I love echo, okay. All right, let's do a pledge of allegiance. Our director, Henman, do you want mind to lead us, please?
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Madam Clerk, would you mind to do our roll call for us?
Of course. Chair Mitra,
Present.
Vice Chair Breed,
Present.
Commissioner Dorlick,
Present.
Commissioner Keeney is absent this evening, Commissioner Levy,
Present.
Commissioner Lopez Lucy,
Present.
Commissioner Osland,
Present.
Student Commissioner Chawla.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 4, should go there. Special items announcements. 4.1, recognition of student commissioner presented by Partha Mitra Chair. And we'll do the student, yeah, city council as well. Okay. First, we would like to recognize our student commissioner, that's Chawla.
You have to go to the microphone.
And then-
Towards you. You can bend it towards you and face out. Maybe do it sitting up.
It looks-
Yes, now bend that towards you. You're perfect. Now turn it off. Now
All right.
turn it off.
There we are.
There you go. All right. Thank you, everybody. First of all, I would like to congratulate for your graduating from the high school and going to school. So you go to UT Austin, I suppose. Yeah, I got it from my daughter. They told me. So congratulations. Also, I would like to talk about Tanishka for last 1 year. You have been really inspiration to all of us on that, and you are setting a role model for all the student commissioners who are coming from our teen council. Thank you. So from our city as well as Parks Commission, I would like to give it to you as a recognition for your work. Could you just go to the?
Yeah, let
Yeah,
it be.
please, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. Being a part of this commission and being able to serve as a student commissioner has been so inspirational. And I really feel like I've been able to represent my teens in my area and really grasp connections between different areas, different teens, different high schools. And it's been such a wonderful opportunity. And I want to thank all the commissioners for allowing me to have this position and really inspiring me and really encouraging me to share my opinion. I really appreciate it. And I feel like I've grown so much through this position and role. And there's definitely traits that I'm going to take with me to my future endeavors. So thank you so much, everyone.
So we are doing the certification for all the kid council members, right? They have the certificate, so maybe you can just follow up on them.
Pranav Iyer, Daphne Akaya, Shreya Arun, Salma Baharani, Sporty Bedam, Isha Bidlish, Rhea Bondari, Andrew Elliott, Tanya Graywall, Eliana Horn, Varsha Jana Lagada, Harshita Karapara, Adya Mariala, Trisha Raganesh, Naina Rana, Ishan Savla, Veer Singh, And then Sarah Beaver.
Martha, get in there. Actually impressive that she did the whole thing in this by herself.
Thank you for Student Commissioner Chawla for helping me on this one. It's been being in the team council and serving and learning is a great experience, I guess, for all of that student commissioners. So thank you for your service and for all the student commissioners as well. All right. So we had done 4.2 as well, because that 4.2 was teen council recognition, so that is also done. Okay, 4.3, temporary employee of the month for month of April, Jalan Pierce.
Good evening, Commissioners. So the City of San Ramon Parks and Community Services Department congratulates Jalen Pierce for being chosen as the April Temporary Employee of the Month. Jalen is a San Ramon resident who previously attended California High School. At California High School, Jalen was an outstanding athlete and excelled in playing basketball. Jalen's passion for the game is contagious. He easily gets the many youth and teen he works with excited about playing basketball each time. Jalen began working with the City of San Ramon Parks and Community Services in October of 2024 as a recreation leader 2 in our youth sports area, specifically as a referee and coach for San Ramon's Youth Hoops Basketball League. Working with kindergartners through second grader participants, Jalen continually showed patience and empathy as he helped these beginner level players learn the game for the first time. If a player committed a foul or made an error, not only would he blow the whistle, but then he'd stop the game and use it as a learning opportunity to educate the entire group on how to correct that issue and improve for the next play. Since the conclusion of the Youth Hoops League, Jalen has assumed a much greater role and lots of other responsibilities. He can be found at one of San Ramon's teen centers, helping middle schoolers with their homework, helping at seasonal camps, and coaching Little Dribblers basketball classes, which he just came from. His primary role with the department is working at the gymnasiums, monitoring rentals, and assisting with the open gym program. The department appreciates Jalen's initiative to keep the gym office and storage areas at both locations, which is no small feat, to be clean at all times. He strives to set a positive example for his coworkers and is a great team player. Thank you, Jalen, for bringing joy and happiness to all the youth and teen in San Ramon. You're a very valuable member of this team, and we look forward to working with you for many years to come.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say thank you, everyone, to my family, and also everyone in the council, and also the City of San Ramon for this great opportunity. And I promise to keep on working hard as the best I can, and also try to bring a good community here to San Ramon as well. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Jalen. Okay, next is 4.1 special announcements. If you have anything, we should always do.
Of course, we have a few special announcements for you today. So wanted to remind everyone that the Forest Home Farm Volunteer Luncheon is tomorrow at 11:30. I think if you're going, you probably already RSVP'd. If you're still planning on going and haven't RSVP'd, let me know and we'll see what we can do. But that's exciting. The commission, I know some of you are probably aware, but we've got some commission terms coming up. And so you need to reapply by May 21st at 5 p.m. And so I think that's Will, Carol, Kyle, and Partha, the four of you. So if you're planning on reapplying, please make sure to do so. If you're not, let me know and we'll pass that along to the city clerk. Also, the Art and Wind Festival is coming up.
What?
I know, shocker. Memorial Day weekend, and I think you've all signed up that can attend for shifts. And I believe you've got your parking passes now, and you have all of the information that you need. But if there's any other questions about that, or concerns or issues, call Brad. And then lastly, and at least in this part of the notes, and I've got some upcoming events, just so you're aware, both our Eagle Art Project at Memorial Park and our shade structure at the San Ramon Community Center are delayed. So the Eagle is still circling. It will not be installed before Memorial Day. That's because the artist had some issues. So that will happen eventually, but just not before Memorial Day. And the shade structure at the San Ramon Community Center is in that same sort of shape. They needed to get it installed before Memorial Day. Otherwise, we cannot do it in the summer because it would take out both the terrace room and the room above and the whole back patio, and we couldn't run our summer programs without it. So it will come in after the summer's over at this point in time. And then a few upcoming dates for you. May 17th, Symphonic Band Concert. Don't miss that. Also on that day, we have the Crow Canyon Gardens Parks Make Life Better Cleanup Day. Those have been going great. We're getting a lot of energy out there and really exciting things happening. Right now, I think just in short, they've just finished the hazmat review of all the buildings because they needed to find and identify all the hazardous materials in those buildings so they can be removed before we can start the renovation. So they've now got it all identified. So now we're moving to the next step. So still moving forward on that. I already mentioned the Wind Festival. Don't forget there's a Memorial Day event on Monday of Memorial Day weekend up at Memorial Park. On June 6th, the Community Chorus has their annual concert, so that's another fun one. June 7th features a children's book sale at the library. So if you've got kids in your life or grandkids or know of other families, that's a great time to go pick up some books that you don't have to worry about returning to the library if they get lost while you're headed off on vacation. And then June 9th is the first day of summer camps. So also a fun day to come to the community center if you want to get a lot of excited energy, the children all with their backpacks and their lunches and parents. So it's a lot of fun. So that's a big day in San Ramon. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. Item number 5, public comments. At this time, members of the public are encouraged to address the Parks and Community Services Commission on any item not already included in tonight's agenda. Comments should not exceed 3 minutes. During public comment, members of the public are permitted to address the commission on items that are not in the agenda and are within the commission's jurisdiction. Do we have any public comment right now?
We do not.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Item number 6, approval of minutes. 6.1, Parks and Community Services Commission regular meeting, April 9, 2025. Do we have everybody reviewed them? Anybody has any questions?
I'll move to
Corrections?
approve the minutes of the meeting of April 9th.
I'll second it.
Okay. It does ding. It does ding still.
There you go.
All right, thank you. 6-0. No vote?
Terry's out.
He's absent, but it says no vote. Okay, anyway. Okay, all right, moving on. Item number 7, commission business. 7.1, City Walk, Bishop Ranch, 1A Heritage Park Public Arts. Recommendations: receive the presentation, provide input to the public art proposal, and forward a recommendation to the Planning Commission. Introduced by Laurel Barr, and Planning Manager, and presented by Dorka Kane, Principal Kane and Art.
Good evening. It's been a while since I've been in front of you, so good to be back. So tonight we're going to be talking about the City Walk Bishop Ranch 1A Heritage Park Public Art Piece. The site location is 6141 Bollinger Canyon Road. This is a parcel immediately west of the Belmont Village Senior Care Facility that recently opened. This is a property that's owned by Sunset Development, and so they're the applicant involved here. The Heritage Park site was originally referred to as South Parkway Green, and it was approved by the city council as part of the City Walk Master Plan. The park site's currently vacant. It's approximately 1.4 acres and is a privately owned public open space. So again, it will be privately owned and maintained, as will the artwork. So Sunset's vision for this development, this park development, is to provide a community amenity for the residents of that neighborhood as well as the community at large. The applicant presented the park design, the whole design, to the Parks Commission back in October of 2024, and then it went on for final approval with the Planning Commission in November of 24. Now, as part of that review, the public art piece had not been determined as of yet. So that's why we're back with you today, is to review the current art proposal entitled Little Big House. On April 16th of 2025, this went to the Arts Advisory Committee. After some discussion, the committee provided some comments and recommended moving it on to the full commission here. And so during the time between that meeting and this particular meeting, the applicant has responded to some of the comments received. Those responses were part of your staff report, and they'll be able to clarify some of those comments as part of their presentation tonight. So again, at this point, I'll turn it over to Dorka to walk through the design and share the vision for the art piece for this location. Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. I'm really excited to be here to present the first folly of Bishop Ranch. You may recall that I presented in February of 2024, for those of you who were on the commission then, that there was a joint meeting of Parks and Community Services Commission and the Art Advisory Committee, where I presented a draft concept for an art master plan for City Walk, where the theme Follies was presented as an overarching theme for all the artworks that would be then placed into City Walk. For those of you who are not at that meeting, their Follies are structures that are designed to enhance and enliven the surrounding landscapes. I'll get a little bit more into that in a couple of slides. And that the Art Master Plan's vision is to create an enduring and evolving world-class destination for the arts with artist-designed Follies that support the development of a unique visual identity, creates connection, enhances public spaces, and activates the street experiences. And the Art Master Plan came after many conversations with city staff, as well as reviewing your walking and biking plans, et cetera. So really taking into account much of the other work that you've been doing here in the city. So what is a folly? So a folly is a structure that's designed, constructed primarily for decoration, but suggests through its appearance some other purpose. Follies defy straightforward categorization, inviting an ongoing evolution of how they are interpreted. They're these intriguing elements in the landscape. They offer a focal points, and contemporary follies can draw inspiration from various architectural periods, including classical, neoclassical, modern, and even futuristic designs. The most well-known folly, contemporary folly right now, is the Eiffel Tower. So the idea is really to give artists a lot of freedom in how they're going to interpret follies, but to have an overarching theme that keeps everything unified. And then just quickly, so the overall concept was to have follies that dotted city the cityscape. And there were focal follies that were large-scale follies. There were follies that went along the parkways. There were follies that were located in the parks. And so the first folly is going to be in Heritage Park, which is kitty corner from City Center. You can see it up there. So it's really a neighborhood park. The focus is really that the artwork was going to speak to the community primarily. There are other artworks that are going to be developed later on that will have larger presences, but this was really for the community that lives there, as well as folks that are coming off the Iron Horse Trail, which is nearby. This is a bird's eye view of the park. There are two large structures one is already being built, which is the Belmont Senior Living, which is in the back right. And then the related mixed use will be built in the near future. They're both 6-story buildings. And so just to reorient, to the right is the Belmont Senior Living, and on the top is the unbuilt mixed-use residential that's going to be built there. The artwork location is going to be located at the bottom right in the picnic area. It's going to be nestled among some trees, which allows from viewing to the playground and as well as the lawn and access from the Iron Horse Trail. So the idea was really to have something that was for the people that live there and that visited there, to not having something that was going to be obstructing in the lawn, that was going to allow the lawn to stay open for play and for other activities. And so the idea for the folly for Heritage Park is that while it will also elicit wonder, it will have some practical uses that will provide some shading and seating. It will respond to the overarching public art program vision and goals, which I showed earlier, that it's going to be appropriate for all ages, but really with special considerations for older people and those with ADA needs, since they're living in the senior housing right nearby. And the way this process worked was that I presented 11 artist teams to Sunset Development, 4 of which were local. And the selection was based on having executed large site-specific projects on time and within budget, use of innovative materials and techniques, and particularly those that encouraged audience participation. Sunset then selected 3 artist teams to develop site-specific proposals. And the selected artist team is R&R Studios. They're based in Miami. Roberto Bahar and Rosario Marquette. They create architecture and artworks that perform as social sculptures and tools for the pursuit of happiness. And they're really interested in public architecture that highlights the communal and civic dimension of life, erasing boundaries between art and everyday life. They've exhibited internationally in museums throughout the world. They're both also architects. And they've taught and lectured at all sorts of universities, including Harvard and Cornell. And they recently came out with a book on their social sculptures that are currently at Princeton. So this is the concept that they developed after responding to an RFP, very detailed about the site, about the vision and goals of both the park and the overall city walk. And so their concept is a little big house. It's a social sculpture that celebrates the transformation of Bishop Ranch from farmland and office district into a vibrant residential neighborhood. As you can see, it's a building that looks like a folly in that it has a playful quality to it. It's an artwork that, as a contemporary follow, presents the illusion of a house and speaks to the concept of home in this new neighborhood. It has a familiar and childlike quality that celebrates the idea of home, not only as a fixed place, but as a feeling of comfort, safety, connection, and identity. And I urge you to think about what your feeling of home is when you think about home. You know, is it loud? Is it fun? Is it lots of kids? Is it quiet? Is it someplace where you gather? Is it someplace that you feel safe? And really, that's the idea that they're trying to create with this folly. And the Little Big House is a place where they really see stories taking place, where old people, parents, et cetera, will come spend time with their children, with each other, telling each other stories, connecting with each other, spending time together. This gives you an idea of it and its location, which is, as I was saying, in the picnic area. And the open part of it is facing where you can see both the playground and the lawn. It has seating on either side of it, on either inside of it, where people can come together and spend time together and also have some shade. There's also plenty of shade under the trees. And this is the other side. You can see to the right, that's where the senior living is. This is being seen from the picnic area. So really the idea is that this will become more than a landmark. It's going to be a cherished part of the park. It's going to create memories, though for those who visit and live there. And also people will be able to visit it coming from the Iron Horse Trail. It's made of steel, and it's coated with paint called Tnemec. It's very hard to say, but it's a paint that I've been using a lot in different art projects. It is better than powder coating because if it gets scratched or anything happens to it, you can just fix a little part of it. You can touch it up really easily. It's very long lasting. It's also very good in the heat. And there's a bottom to the artwork, and that's going to have, the floor is going to be also metal, but it'll have a non-slip coating designed for metal. It creates like a textured surface that increases the friction, and it's frequently used for outdoor metal stairs. I've got a picture here where you can see the rounded corners, so nothing is going to be sharp. The windows, all the corners, all the edges are going to be rounded like what you see there. The two benches on the either side, you can see they're ADA height, 18 inches, and they're about 24 inches wide. And the structure itself is 16 by 16 by 6. I know everyone worries about graffiti, and Tnemec paint is really easy to remove graffiti from. You just use rubbing alcohol. It's very easy to maintain with water and mild soap. And the installation is, it will arrive in modular sections that will be already painted, connected on sites. And like any other building, it will be structurally engineered with stamped building drawings. There was some conversation at the art committee around colors and the paint. And so I thought I would just talk a little bit around the psychology of red and yellow. Red is stimulating and associated with energy, and yellow is associated with happiness and friendliness. The paint is designed to keep out heat by reflecting a portion of the sun's heat away from the coated surface. It has excellent long-term color retention. It's UV resistant, it's corrosion resistant, and it was created specifically for architectural steel, long-term exposure to heat, even though it's under the trees. And it's been created especially for places like benches, facades, and railings. And I thought I would just show you the two bench photos below are photos that show benches that are in our studio. The artists have done in places like Arizona, where it's really hot. And then I'm showing on the top right an artwork that's also seating. It's concrete and metal that I completed with another artist in Dublin, California, using the same paint. As you can see there are hardly any trees, and there's been no issue with heat. I also thought that I would share a little bit on the history of colors in architecture in California, why these colors were selected, because they're really speaking to this idea of home, of what houses and art really, these colors really speak to. And so, of course, we all think about red paints with a barn, and this was farmland. But the one thing that I learned that I thought was really interesting was that red was picked because it was cheap back in the day, because he utilized iron and oxygen as pigments, which was really inexpensive. So that's why we had red barns, which I didn't know that. And obviously, and red doors are symbols of welcome. I actually did a Google search on San Ramon houses, and there's lots of them with red doors. And it continues to be a color for Victorian and modern houses. You can see I've got a couple red modern houses, and I really like that photo in the middle that shows it with the snow. I know we're not going to get snow in San Ramon, but this idea of a house amongst the trees that it kind of peeks out, you can see a little bit, but it's not too much. But you'll be able to see it from the lawn. You'll be able to see it. It'll be something that will draw curiosity, that will want to make people come over. Obviously, in the top right, Mission Revival style is big in California, certainly big in the East Bay. The stucco walls and the red clay tile. And then I was driving in Oakland just the other day and found this red and yellow house. So it's a color that's used in housing, and so is yellow. Yellow is painted on Victorians a lot in the bottom right. Yellow is painted on California bungalows. And on the top right is a house that just sold in San Ramon. I don't know if any of you live near Breeza Loop, but that just sold. And so red and yellow is there also. So it's really pulling on the vernacular of California architecture. So it's, again, this idea of feeling familiar, right? Connected to where you live. And then, with contemporary art too, it's, I'm sure you've all been to Moscone Center and seen on the top left there, the Keith Haring, the 3 dancing figures. Mark DeSuvero below that is a, very famous Bay Area artist. Jeff Koons in the middle there, the yellow balloon dog. And then on the right is Calder, who actually invented his own red paint. So again, these are colors that are used often in architecture and in art. Lighting. We obviously want to make sure that the artwork is well lit. There are 3 large lights. These are lights. They're called, they're 16-foot type 3 LED light poles. They're lights that you normally would find in a parking lot. So plenty of light. The one above it goes right into it, so it'll be fully illuminated at night. And then the budget. So like building a real house, even though it doesn't have one wall, the Folly House has all the same design, engineering, fabrication, permits, material, equipment, foundation, and installation costs. So it's being built to last. It's metal with specialized paints. The engineering will include stamped structural engineering drawings and building permits. You can see here the breakdown between the materials, the installation, the engineering, the crating and shipping, the insurance, and the artist fee. And below, there's an anticipated project schedule. And that's the presentation. So I welcome any questions, and I thought I'll just bring it back to a visual of the artwork. So
Thank you, Dorka. All right, let's go to clarifying questions from the commission. Do we have anybody speaker? Don't have any name here. Can you press? Okay. Commissioner Oswald?
So one question I had, does the material get hot?
very good question. And the material does not get hot unless it was like 200 plus degrees. It may get warm at like 200 plus degrees, but it goes up to 120 without changing, with the paint on it, without changing. And then the paint is a solar reflective paint. So it actually, doesn't attract, it does not attract the heat. It doesn't soak it in. So there, and that's why I showed the benches that it was painted with the same paint, as well as the artwork that I did with another artist in Dublin, which has been, the client has not called with any issues. And I actually went by last week just to go sit there in the middle of the day, because there are really no trees. And here there will be trees, so it'll be surrounded by trees. So, yes.
Okay, that's it. All right, Vice Chair Breed.
I'm right here. Sorry about that. Hey, thank you so much for the presentations. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
from a standpoint of safety, like it gets wet and stuff, it's not gonna slip, right? From the slip and falls, right? We're good there.
Correct. So as I mentioned, it has a specialized coating on the bottom. So yeah, there's no slipping whatsoever.
Okay, and then, I'll be honest with you, I'm struggling with this one, and I'm curious why we're putting artwork like this near more of retirement. I mean, where it's being located, I could see it in a different part of San Ramon versus where we're putting this structure. Why we decide this structure more near, where it's being located, where Belmont Village is? So
Well, it was specifically created for this site. And the reason it was created was because there was a desire to connect older people and younger people and those who lived in this community. So it was really focused on the community that lives there and the ability for the community to come together and have these experiences together for older people to, go sit with their grandchildren, for folks who are going to live in the related area in the related housing to come and hang out with their children, and for other people to come spend time there. So really this idea of home, right? And it's a neighborhood project, right? This is a neighborhood park. And the project was really specifically designed for this park, for the people who are going to live in that neighborhood and in that community. And for them to be able to create these memories and these experiences together. I mean, it's really made me think about like what my idea of home was. And I remember when I was 12, I moved from New York City, from an apartment to a house in Seattle, Washington, and how amazing I thought it was to have grass outside and trees, right? And even though these folks will be living in apartments, they still have this amazing park that they get to go into and to be in the picnic area. And maybe there'll be some older people who don't have children, but they'll meet some children or folks who don't have grandparents who, so really the artists really saw this as a way of bringing people together in the community. And also, other folks who are coming on the Iron Horse Trail who's going to want to come and check it out. So that was the intention behind this, was to really have an artwork that's very community focused, that also provides some utility, the shading and seating, and that really speaks to the idea of home, community, and this sort of playful concept.
And then, okay, that's helpful. And then we talked about, you said it's gonna last a long time, but since it's a privately owned park, so maintenance, or if it, 20, 40, 50 years from now, the owner of the park would own replacing it if it was to be
So
replaced.
when I said 20 years, I meant the paint.
Okay.
It's steel. And so it's a privately owned park. Sunset will be maintaining it. The artist will provide a maintenance plan that will be followed. So there'll be regularly scheduled maintenance. So probably some type of cleaning every few months, right? The paint will last at least 20 years and then be repainted. So the structure should last. I mean, it's steel. There's no major corrosion issues out here. If there were any type of corrosion that would happen, that could be easily handled. So it's going to last a very long time.
And my last question is, let's say if Sunset exit, this sells all their property, and what would happen? Would they create some type of, I don't know, endowment or trust, so that way if something happens to this, it's paid for, so it doesn't go back onto the city? I'm not sure you can answer
So
that.
I'm not going to speak to Sunset for Sunset.
So if all of a sudden the property's sold or they get out of that, years from now, are we protected as a city set, from
Yeah.
standpoint of cost?
So in the near term, there's a development agreement between Sunset and the city, but in the long term, there's also a requirement associated with the approval of the park for a property maintenance agreement
Yeah.
that gets recorded on the property. So any successor in interest would be responsible for that maintenance, and the city can actually hold them responsible for upkeep if something were to become deteriorated or a hazard.
So I just want to make sure I hear what you're saying, Larry. You're saying, so if the property gets transferred anyways, the new owner would own maintenance and replacement if possible 20, 40, 50 years from now, right?
Yeah, just like any kind of easement or obligation that's recorded on a property, it transfers to the new owners. So
Okay.
it's part of the disclosure that they'd have to acknowledge when they buy the property.
And it's pretty tight. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I feel better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Lopez Lucy?
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I like the idea of the house, the building and whatever. At my church here in San Ramon, we were given a little playhouse from a lady that wanted on Let's Make a Deal or one of those things. And when we had the preschool there, the kids loved it. And I mean, boys and girls, I mean, they just went, they just love to play in there because it does give you the sense of what they do at home. They kind of play there, the kids do and all. So of course we didn't have adults that really took advantage of that, but I just wanted to share that it is a really effective and area that I think will be greatly used. I really think so. And I did come from a farm and we had a red barn. So I know that does stand up. And so then you see many of that. So I think it'll be fun.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Levy?
Sure. I have a procedural question, which is really more for Lauren Barr. In terms of what's being sought from us tonight, it says, feedback and then forward a recommendation to the Planning Commission, which I'm assuming that recommendation would be approve it as presented or don't approve it, or what are the boundaries there? And then what role does the Planning Commission have in terms of blessing this or not?
Yeah, so you can make a recommendation to approve as proposed. You can recommend approval with comments, period. You have a lot of flexibility in terms of what you want. But the way the procedures are set up, ultimately, the Planning Commission would be the final approval authority. And so we would come to them with an actual resolution approving the art piece as part of the park project. Again, the park itself is already approved. It's just the art piece itself.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, anybody else? No? All right, thank you, Dorka, for the presentation. Really appreciate that. Now, honestly speaking, I was a little bit struggling, like Vice Chair Braid. I did not get initially it was a little bit hard for me to take this one as an art piece. But as time passes and I went through the document, so heard about your presentation, I kind of get it on that. Just a question, did we have any other alternative ideas for this? Or this is the only one that came in? Or is it like there are a bunch of them presented and
No, so.
somebody choose this one?
So the process is that Sunset selected the artwork and this is being presented to the city as the artwork for the park.
Right, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
But there was a selection process of both the artists and their concepts.
The selection process was internal in Sunset, right? Yes,
But I mean,
yes,
they looked at a variety of. artists,
yes.
And
And
they looked
the,
at a variety of their concepts for the park. And this was the one that was selected.
correct.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it wasn't just like one artist, one
Yes.
design. It
Mhm.
was.
So there were
Lot.
3 artist teams that were selected to develop site-specific proposals. And this was the one that was selected by Sunset. So, and I think we all felt that it was really very strong and that it really spoke to the notion of a folly, that it really spoke to the notion of the community and of bringing people together in this new neighborhood. So spoke to the history of the site, spoke to the sort of the future of the site, and really created this place where people could come together and have fun experience together and get to engage with it in a new contemporary way in art. And so this is somewhat, it's very contemporary art. It's very, follies and pavilions are very contemporary concepts in art. And so the idea is that, not everything is going to be like this. There'll be different opportunities for gateways, for more traditional types of sculptures, things that, maybe not the Eiffel Tower, but, San Ramon's version of the Eiffel Tower. So the different locations will have different focuses so that there'll be different ways to draw people to those sites and have different impacts on what is being experienced depending on where it is, right? Certain parts of the city, you're going to want to have something really big that's going to be a placemaking, that people are going to say, oh, let's go meet at the X, right? You know, but for a community park, I think you want something that's smaller and more intimate, that's more fun, that people can kind of play in, you know, that feels more like a playhouse, which is exactly what you were saying.
Yeah. My biggest struggle, not, I wouldn't call it a struggle anymore, but hesitation was like, okay, if we are treating this as a sitting place where people can gather, we have lots of other sitting places just surrounding this place, right? Why do we need another one sitting place, especially in an artwork?
So that's really a great question. So one of the things that I really heard from the city and everything that everyone I was speaking to was the need for more shade and more seating. And so while there is some shade and seating for sure in the park, I didn't sound to me like anyone objected to having a little more. The primary focus is not are going to want to sit. So this gives an opportunity for, you know, not only older people, but maybe mom wants to sit too. You know, and have the baby on her lap and be able to watch the playground and have a chat, you know what I mean? So, and watch the kids playing inside. So they all get to be together rather than, you know, mom's at the picnic table and the kids are over there, right? It allows more engagement, more community being together. I'm really excited about the opportunity for older people to spend more time with younger people. I think it's something we really lack in our society. And this is a really exciting neighborhood that you're building, that you're designing, where you're going to have this mixing of different ages. I mean, the playground is right in front of the senior housing. I think that's so great.
Right. No, I mean, this is definitely a unique one. When it's built, it's going to be definitely unique and different than any other artwork that we have. So
Yes.
definitely, that's for sure. As I said, as we read more and hear from you, I'm getting the concept. So that's so
I mean,
okay.
I really hope that in, you know, as we continue to do more of these artworks, that San Ramon becomes really a draw for the art that's here. You know, that you really become known for the Bishop Ranch Follies. So, so they're not all going to be like this, but they'll be unique.
Yeah.
As I was reminded this week with a photo, you know, our first major, you know, artwork in Central Park, you know, had a mixed reaction, I would say. But
And
now,
sorry, which one was that?
that's the
the first
three holding.
Three Holden one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, major one there with Dale Rogers. But, you know, it was somewhat iconic and a little idiosyncratic when it was put in. But now it is a gathering place. People, you know, say, well, I'll meet you over there. And it really has become, you know, an integral part of the park and the character of the park. But it was somewhat, you know, what are we thinking? What are we controversial? I was on the Arts Advisory Committee at that time. So, you know, it was, you know, taking a chance, but it, you know, has really become an endearing part of the community and Central Park itself.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. All right, let's move on. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So you mentioned children being able to like play in the park and things like, or in the structure and things like that. So I was just wondering, like, is there activities in the structure? Is it like a play structure in the house, or is it just like a plain house, but that's like open?
It is an artwork. So if there were going to be some kind of special activities, which I love your thinking, I think that would be something that the community would develop.
Yeah.
Right. But
Because I'm just kind of thinking like same with Chair Mithra, because there are like a lot of gathering spaces like picnic tables. So I was also just kind of wondering like what makes it so unique, because it is like pretty expensive for the structure. So that's just what I was kind of wondering, if the purpose is for like students and parents to be able to be together. I was just kind of wondering like what would make the children also be able to be in the structure, if there's things for them to do, or if it's just kind of a way for them to.
well, it's an artwork, so
Yeah.
whatever's put in there could be, you know, that's an additive,
Yeah.
right? But I like your thinking. I think that there could be some kind of community engagement, you know, or, you know, maybe you come up with some ideas of things that could be fun for kids to be doing in there. And I also like things that seniors and kids could do together. And maybe that's something that's created, you know, is there an HOA there? Is that? Anyway, you know, that I think that these are things that, you know, the people who live in that community can start thinking about things that they might want to do in there. I think that's a really great idea.
Right. Okay, public comments. Do we have any public comments? to none. Okay. All right,
Promotion.
commission comments. Anybody has any comments?
More comments? Okay.
If anybody has any. Commissioner Levy, was that the last one or?
No.
Okay, Commissioner Levy.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, like some of my other fellow commissioners that you've kind of heard tonight, I also have misgivings about this one. I think the idea of a folly that has the shade, that's whimsical, I think that's a good idea. I have no problem with that concept, and I think that was a good one, and that has built-in seating and functionality. I think the sort of minimalist design of the house and the bright red sort of, or, maybe saturated down a little bit, but the red color scheme, I think either of those things by themselves would be fine. I think this particular combination, it does not work for me, if I'm being honest. And, art is subjective. What doesn't appeal to me could appeal to someone else and vice versa, and I understand that. I think your points about the red color, evoking the past, the color of barns, things like that. I think that makes sense. And if this folly looked sort of like, a little fake barn, I think that would work. But because it doesn't, it looks like a house. When I see that, I don't think barns. I think, school houses or fire stations or things like that. It doesn't really evoke warmth to me. It evokes a kind of whimsy that I don't think necessarily is widely appealing. The pictures you had in the packet of the yellow like bungalows and cottages and stuff, I think those look quite warm and welcoming. And I think if the exterior of this was that sort of yellow color, I feel like it would be a little less, grating to my senses. So I have an issue with that. I think also, I live in San Ramon, but I work in Castro Valley, and more than 25 years ago, the Castro Valley installed a public art piece as a sort of welcome to Castro Valley that was shaped like a canoe, and it was very whimsical. And the idea was it was supposed to be fun and evocative of the spirit of Castro Valley, and it was installed on a concrete median on Redwood Road. And it was so deeply controversial with the people of Castro Valley, it was yanked out a few months later at some significant expense, and it's been stored at a corporation yard in Alameda County for the last 25 years. And to this day, people in Castro Valley act like it's the boogeyman that could come back at any moment. This thing has lived in infamy. And I'm not saying this is anywhere near, in that range, but it does give me pause to go, this route with something like this. So I do have an issue with that. And then lastly, I do appreciate that, a response was provided to the Arts Advisory Committee's feedback. But just speaking for me personally, I don't feel that the concerns of the Arts Advisory Committee were appropriately addressed. I don't really think that serious effort to actually address them is evident here in what I'm seeing tonight. So for those reasons, I have some pretty big misgivings about this one, and I don't know if I could support it in its current form. And those are my comments.
So we did spend quite a bit of time with the artists discussing the colors, and they felt very strongly around the colors. Your idea of maybe having the yellow on the inside, the reason we didn't go in that direction is because of the history, the farm history. But also, having a lot of red on the inside makes it darker. So that's why the yellow. It's also the yellow is what you see the most, because that's where when you're coming in the park, you see the yellow. You're not seeing the red. You're seeing from the back of the picnic area. You're seeing it from that side road. But really, the first thing that you're seeing is this. So we really did talk a lot about the colors. We didn't make it high gloss, which is what it was before, to respond to some of those concerns. And the red has shifted. So it is a different kind of red that I think speaks more to the color of contemporary art that I was showing you. So speaks more to that. But so, we definitely discussed a lot, all the comments that were made for sure. I spent a lot of time with the artist, and that's why we have it with this color makeup, because the yellow is what's seen the most from the park side. So I hear what you're saying, but I just want you to know that we did spend a lot of time discussing all the items that were brought up at the Arts Committee. And, the artist felt strongly about the colors. So they wanted to accommodate the concerns. But again, as I mentioned, having the red on the inside would make it dark, and it would be more visible, right? This way, it's actually you're seeing more of the yellow that you like. We can certainly discuss like the shades of yellow, but I think that what they're planning to do, because the problem with color, as you all know, I don't know if you've painted your house, I have made total mistakes with my house, where you love a color and you put it in a room and you find that the light does something weird to it. And my beautiful gray turned out to be like psychedelic purple, right? I had to redo the room. So they're going to planning to come out here to really look at the colors in situ, to really look at it in the park. I mean, obviously the trees aren't going to be tall then, but to really look at how the colors are working in that area to see that, you know, we don't want darkness. We don't want it to be depressing. We don't want it to be shocking, right? We want it to be attracting. So I think that, you know, this is not the end of the line here as far as the colors go, you know, the shades of the colors, you know, and I think that if you're interested in that, we could definitely have you be part of those conversations when they're doing it. But, you know, and it's also hard to show color on a screen, right? But what you're seeing around red, I hear you. And that the idea was really to have the yellow to be most prominent, which is what you thought was, you know, you were attracted to. And this is what's going to be seen. But, you know, even in this, it looks a little orangey to me, right? So it's just hard with these screens.
Yeah, no, I know
Right.
there's some
Yeah,
limitations.
right. So,
Is there any way the yellow could be on both the interior and exterior, with the red just sort of being a trim on, you know, the outside and like the bench part on the inside?
I certainly can think that that's an option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
that's all.
no, I mean,
Yeah, no, fair enough. Anything's possible, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
All right. Commissioner Osley?
Thank you, Dorka. I really enjoyed your presentation and all the thought that has gone into this and all of the dialogue and listening. I actually like the house. I think it's really a fun concept because it's plain and as you were saying, it just kind of invites conversation. Especially for little people, they're going to want to go in the home, and it can create a lot of play, I think, for adults with children. My concern also is the color. It's really, really bright. I think it's going to stand out a lot, but I understand also that this is an artist's vision and that this is what they feel is the best for this particular structure in this place. And these colors evoke the happiness and joy and playfulness that they're seeking for the space. Little concerned about the lighting, maybe trying to, I don't know, does it need to be, you know, illuminated from above? Maybe this is something that might be considering looking more at low ambient light rather than to like make it so bright even in the darkness. That would be just a concern that I have. I also concur with Commissioner Levy with his concerns about did we really listen to the Arts Advisory Committee if the colors were, you know, not working for them. It sounds like we're still sticking with it, toned down slightly, but that also, you know, I think they were maybe thinking something more natural to fit into the area, but I get this is the artist's vision and this is how they see it. So thank you. I'm, you know, that's all I really have to say about it. We'll see where it goes.
So I'd love to respond to your three comments. So the first comment was that it really sticks out. So just so you can see, here it is amongst the trees. So it's, you know, it's here in the corner amongst trees. So you're going to catch glimpses of it. Here, let me actually, you know what's a good one? Here we go. So, you know, if you look at number one, bird's eye view from southeast, it's going to be in that top right corner. And if you're looking at bird's eye view from southeast, number two there, it's going to be in that bottom corner, right? So it's really not very visible because it's in amongst the trees. Regarding the lighting, so that lighting is lighting that is already planned. It wasn't specifically designed for the artwork, but I did speak with the lighting people to understand the scope of the light, how far it goes. You know, they reviewed the artwork and were like, it's going to have good lighting on the inside, but it's not any stronger lighting than what was already planned before the artwork. So those are lights that were for the pathways already. And then regarding the response to this, so I did have about 3 meetings with the artist, going over all the items from the art committee. And we explored different colors. The thing is, natural colors aren't very attracting. And we were also really looking at the vernacular of California architecture. And, you know, we also have the Victorians, et cetera. I mean, so they're not like crazy colors, but, you know, if it was a white house, which there are a lot of white houses, I think that would be a really tough color to deal with, you know, dirt, et cetera. So what are colors that are fun, but, you know, also, respond to the vernacular of our architecture, to the history of our architecture in this area, really. So it wasn't like they went, we're not listening. We really did talk a lot about color. And so I think, you know, if you all feel very strongly, we could discuss flipping some of the color, but, you know, I've just expressed where they're coming from and that they definitely listened to what was being said and understood the concerns. And then so they're muting the reds and the yellows, but they still feel that red and yellow in amongst the trees is attractive. And, you know, I think oops, how do I get back into here? Yeah. Thanks. So again, and here's that, thank you. Here's that idea of the one in the snow, that again, you know, we're not getting snow, but we are going to have a lot of green, berm, trees, bushes around it. So it's, you know, you're just going to get a little, you know, little glimpse of it. So it definitely doesn't stick out. It's also small when you think in comparison to those 6-story buildings around it. You know, it's not a big monolithic thing.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Vice Chair Breed.
Okay, first of all, thanks for doing all of this. And, you know, I think it's great that Bishop Ranch wants our Sunset wants our input on this. And first of all, no, red's my favorite color, right?
Okay.
And everything you said about the history, we're in Vermont. We're in Vermont looking at barns and, you know, the whole historic part of red, right? So, but for me, and also I like, you did listen to us. If you look at our master plan, shade's important, seating and shade's important. So I did, first thing I saw, I'm like, oh my God, that makes total sense. I saw the shade on that. So I was very appreciative that it ties into what we're trying to do as a city from the standpoint of creating seating and shade. What I struggle with is where it's at, right? If I was king of the day, or if this was my park, because of the people who are living, the citizens who will be living, and what we're trying to do is how do we enhance their lives and make it pretty cool. I would probably take what we're putting where this art place is and put a chess table or table like Pinnacle, or, you know, I know we have picnic tables there, but how do we make some type of art that's a little more practical to the citizens that will be living around there? Personally, I would put this artwork in I was looking at it in position 2, right by Ironhorse Trail, because it's more of a welcoming into the city. So I don't have a too big issue. My issue is that we're putting this artwork in the wrong place, if you want my personal opinion. So, and so that's why I'm struggling. I'm kind of with Kyle's on it. I'm struggling. It's not that I don't like it. It's just, it's in the wrong place for the citizens that will be living around that. And I heard with you, with the interaction of the community and the older citizens, but for me, this doesn't serve, I think, the people who will be living in that area. And that's why I put it in a different spot. So, like I said, there's a lot of positives to it for me, but I just think it's in the wrong area.
So it's interesting because when I look at position 2,
Yep.
I'm really thinking about something big and tall that's going to be a focal point so that people from Iron Horse Trail and other places are going to come and meet there. So not a little playful house, but something that's like our version of the Eiffel Tower, right?
Right.
That's going to be a placemaking where we're going to go, oh, I'm going to go meet at the Eiffel Tower, right? And so so for this, for example, the focal points are much larger pieces that are draws and placemaking, right? They're places where you meet, they're going to be places that are going to be photographed a lot or whatever. This, to me, is much more of a community focused. And, seniors live there, but there are going to be a lot of young people with children that are going to be living in Related. I mean, that is, how many apartments are in Related?
383.
383. So those are a lot of, they're not going to be all young people, but there are going to be a lot of young people, probably a lot of people with small children are going to be, there's a whole playground right in front of the senior housing. So it's not just old people that are going to be living there. It's a whole mix of people.
No, and I get that for the record. I mean, don't think that's not missed on me, but what's missed on me is you're gonna put, we're missing that part of we're not serving that community well with this park. So for me, I personally think, how do we serve that portion of our citizens and I'm not sure this artwork serves that portion of our citizens, because we have a ton of stuff for kids in the city, and we have a ton of stuff for, but as we look at our, more aging, which is the majority of our population, this is, I just don't think this fits for that segment of our population. So if you want my personal opinion, and I get the interaction, but I think we could do other things. Yep.
I just wanted to weigh in with one point about
Sure.
Belmont Village. It is a senior care facility, but it also, for those of you that haven't been there, they offer up a lot of amenities for the residents as well. Restaurants, barbecue areas, putting greens, gaming areas, fitness centers. And so it's not to say that there aren't resources for the senior community that's being there. This is just one more level out toward the community. The other thing I would mention that wasn't talked about, there's also a transit mobility hub at the west end of this park. So you'll have people that will be commuting in and out of this area through that system as well. So again, it's just worth noting. And
Noted.
I understand
I
what
got
you're
it,
saying.
but I mean, that's, my job is to give my opinion and,
No, I agree.
what's right for the citizens. And like I said, I like it. I just think it's in the wrong place. So,
And, I like your idea of, maybe in the picnic area, there are opportunities to have chess or something like that. It doesn't have to be either or. I think it could be an and,
true.
right? The picnic area is, has other opportunities, but it also sounds like there's a lot of opportunities at Belmont too. So.
I know, but anyways, you heard my point on it,
Yeah.
and from standpoint of as it fits who's we're serving there, I just think we're,
We were,
again, it's not
we were
my
real-
park.
yeah,
I mean,
we were really looking at how we bring everybody
Yeah.
together.
But I'm aligned with a lot of what Commissioner Levy said about the input for an arts commissions. I don't want to repeat all that. So I'm very aligned with a lot of stuff he said on that. So, all right, that's just my opinion, but I do appreciate you being so open to the comments, because I know, and being receptive and being able to respond. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Anybody else? Please go
But-
ahead.
Yes, I understand where you're all coming from, and also, but I have some small grandchildren and 2- and 3-year-olds and 8-year-olds. When they come to see you, they want you to play with them. I mean, it gives you, well, it gives me a lot of fun because I love it to pieces, but this might seem that when they come, if you were living there and you don't have really a yard or anything, and you do have those amenities, but this gives something new that grandma and grandpa or great grandma and grandpa can go there with them. And I think they will like the red and the yellow, and that will draw them there. And yes, true, grandma and grandpa might get tired and want to sit down, but a lot of times they don't let you sit down. You have to play with them. So, that I can see too, and I can see it's bold and whatever, but I can see the issue of it could work. That's all I have.
All right. All right. From my final comment, I think, as I said, like initially when I saw that, I didn't realize that was the artwork. But as I started reading, listening, hearing, I get the concept. My personal feeling is with the cost in mind, that's why my question was like, is there any other alternative there? So this is not a cheap art, right? All the city is not paying, but it is still costly one. Having said that, I think if that is, as I said, I've started reading, I kind of get the concept, and hearing people. I think that is a good location point was very interesting one. I think that's might be something to think about. Maybe, and I like your answer that when you said like why it needs to be or, it can be and chessboard as well as this, so that we can cater to both the requirements. Okay, personally, I think I will go ahead with that one. But I still wanted to see all of the other alternatives if there is any. That was my personal thing. But okay, go ahead, please.
Being an old person, you don't want to sit around and play chess. I mean, that's kind of like a concept that people, think about. Oh, you want to sit around in the park and play chess, and you got a little chessboard on the round table, and you're doing back. That's not what most people are going to do.
Not my point, Will.
There's a lot of activities in Belmont Plays, right? That cater to that. And it's a different lifestyle issue. That's that's fine. But you were saying, kind of that traditional thing. You're sitting in the park in New York and Washington Square, and you got a round table with a couple of chess or checkerboards on there, and everybody's got their timer and hitting the timer and playing like that. There's plenty of opportunity for that. But I mean, I think you're looking at a cloistered location that's very much away from most of the other activity there. And it's focused on the playground. And it's focused on the playground so that it can be a gathering place that accompanies the playground and that far area away from most of the mainstream area in the park. And remember, it's only 1.4 acre park. So
Right.
it's really a parklet or a placemaking place. It's not the usual park you're looking at, and it is far in the extreme. It's focused on the playground and focused on allowing people to gather at the playground. So just wanted to bring that point up, that there are a lot of other activities that are available. And by the way, Central Park is a short walk away, so this is more of a neighborhood thing, accommodating both of those two locations where you've got, it's kind of like Bartlett Park, you kind of plan for it as from a community standpoint, but probably 95% of the usage is going to be people that are right there. You're not going to say, let's go down there. You're going to say, let's go to Central Park, or let's go to City Center, or let's go, to a larger gathering place. This is going to be very, very central, very localized, for these folks. So that's all.
All right, thank you. If there's no other comment, let's do a motion to recommend recommendation to the Planning Commission.
I'll make a motion to recommend from the Parks and Community Services Commission that we receive the receive the report, and I recommend that we pass it along to the Planning Commission.
I second.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? You're making a recommendation on this actual piece to the planning commission.
Yes.
So it's not just the report. So I think you just need to be clear.
Oh, okay.
That you're recommending it as presented, or you're
As the
recommending
report
it,
was presented.
okay.
Yeah.
The artwork,
Yeah. as the
the
report
artwork.
was presented.
Yep.
Yeah.
The motion still stands?
Yes, and I seconded it.
Yeah. Okay, just wanted to be sure. Yeah, please, Will, mover.
Oh.
Does it not come up with a second?
Yeah, you should be
There.
coming up.
Now
here,
we should.
too. There you go.
All right, we have 4 yeses, 2 noes, and 1 absent. All right.
Thank you
Motion
so
passes.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Um, Item number 7.2, San Ramon Trails Master Plan Update. Recommendation, receive the San Ramon Trail Master Plan update and provide feedback. Introduction by Program Manager Keith Hesse and presented by Ben Fish, Principal Designer Workshop. Let's do this.
Good evening, Chair Mitra and Commissioners. Tonight's presentation is the long-awaited Trails Master Plan, not so much kickoff, but update for the commission. The presentation this evening is for informational purposes only, and no immediate action on behalf of the commission is needed tonight. However, your questions and feedback is greatly appreciated at the end of the presentation. Before handing things off to Ben Fish from Design Workshop, I wanted to provide a brief overview of how we have gotten here today. It's been almost a full year since the Trails Master Plan topic was presented to the Parks Commission. At that time, in June 2024, the Parks Commission recommended that a Trails Master Plan consider the following: the goals of the other city master plans, such as the Walking District, the Bike Master Plan, the Parks, Trails, Open Space, and Recreation Master Plan. And in addition, provide an overview of current trail conditions, provide recommendations for trail extensions, trail connections, along with development costs and a prioritization of those recommended elements, as well as the commission stressed the importance of having an emphasis on gaining community engagement and feedback and input into creating the recommendations. This information was then used to develop a request for proposals in which the city received 7 proposals. Those responses were reviewed by 6 city staff from 3 different departments, being Parks Community Services, Public Services, as well as Engineering. All 3 departments have some role in the either maintenance, programming, or management of the trails or land that the trails sit on. A design workshop was selected and began their assessment and work in March of this year. As you may know, Design Workshop has extensive experience with the city of San Ramon, whether that's the Bicycle Master Plan, the 2022 Walking District Master Plan, or our beloved 2020 Parks Master Plan. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Ben Fish of Design Workshop to walk through the project, their initial findings of what they've found over the last couple months, and then to cover and discuss next steps in the project. And with that, hand it off to Ben. You can use those move with the arrows. Yep.
All right. Yeah, thanks everyone. Again, I'm Ben Fish. I'm a landscape architect with Design Workshop and a principal in the office in our Tahoe studio. Just drove down this morning. It was snowing up there yesterday. It's interesting.
How's the skiing?
It's still decent. Our team on the right-hand side here, so we have Madison Pong as our project manager, Stephanie Grigsby, who I believe most of you know, she's the other principal in our Tahoe studio, and then Brent Hood, who's working alongside of our team here in Tahoe, the Tahoe studio. And then we also have Fieran Pierce, Dana, and Terrence, who have been working on the bike plan, and they are on our team kind of to integrate the off-street trails plan that we're working on with the bike plan itself. And so our scope, I'm going to quickly go over this. I have about a 15-minute presentation, gets into some more maps and graphics later. But our scope, so we have 4 tasks in here. We're really on the left side of this slide right now. So the trails analysis and assessment study, like Keith said, we had a kickoff about a month and a half ago, or maybe about 5 or 6 weeks ago. here. And then we've been doing some site visits. I just got back from a bike ride in between meetings with East Bay Regional Parks District and this presentation, just again, assessing more of the trails. So we are in this really kind of kickoff field review mapping, land use assessment stage of it. Preliminary recommendations, you'll see those will be coming after task or integrated with task 2 when we get the community needs assessment and the public engagement. And we've also been doing some pretty good efforts with stakeholder engagement right now, at least more internally, and then with the city of Dublin and the city of Danville. And then I'll go to the calendar here. So we have through the end of October is our plan to deliver a final master plan. And I believe we have other check-ins with the commission here too, right? When we have a draft master plan. Okay, and we'll get those exact dates. That would be later this summer when we have a draft master plan, some of the recommendations. The community needs assessment, and you'll see in the next steps that we are proposing to go out next week with a public engagement survey and running that through middle of July. And so really getting a lot of public engagement throughout this process itself. And so a quick overview, again, the project area is the city of San Ramon, including connections to Danville, Dublin, and like you said, we met with East Bay Regional Parks District today. We've met with Danville and Dublin last month, and so kind of looking at regional connections, but working within the city itself. Some of our initial findings right now is that, and I don't mean to be harsh, but the existing trail system is really, it's, to be blunt, it's an inherited system of old ranch roads with a lot of steep slopes on it. It's not what you would really consider a proper off-street trail system, for a community right now. But that said, there is a great framework in place for a citywide on-street and off-street trail system. So the backbone is there. The open space, there's so many opportunities with Gadlands. And there's an appetite for community trails with the Iron Horse as well. So you have the Iron Horse kind of running as a north-south connector, a lot of open space. There's so many opportunities to really work from right now. There's great easy access to nature from urban areas and great views. I mean, you'll see just some of the photos that we have in here of, woodpeckers and, like rabbits. I mean, it's just like, it's really great access to nature from people's, from the neighborhoods. And so, but there's also not many loops right now. There are some loops, not very well signed. So there's opportunities for more loops and working within those Gadlands itself. So some of our analysis mapping, there's some steep slopes, like we were saying. This is a slope analysis of the region with the outline of city of San Ramon in here. Doherty Hills is a divider really from the east and the west sides of the city. And those kind of provides a constraint, but also a great opportunity because there's great views from Doherty Hills as you get up into the trail systems of Doherty Hills. When you get up, I was just over on Tasahara Ridge right before this meeting. And again, the views are just beautiful, looking back towards, west and east and over to Mount Diablo. So there is slopes, but I think the topography is a great asset as well. We've done a key, we looked at 5 key trails. 4 of them are within the city of San Ramon, and then one of them, the Gray Fox Trail, the blue line off Bishop Ranch open space over there, which feels like it's a city trail because you access it from the city street. They're all very steep. So I'm going to go to the next slide that has some profiles of these. And so this is just a quick assessment of 5 of the more popular trails. The gray stroke on these is exceeding 10% in slope. So that's not to a standard of a comfortable trail that you would want. So basically, you go up steep and then you go down steep and so on and so on. So we see a lot of opportunities to work with these inherited old ranch roads and maybe be potentially, realigning some of those and giving, more comfortable a gradient to users on the trail systems. We've also been looking at, so these are heat maps that are user generated. So we have foot and bicycle. I think it's fun to kind of flip between both of these. So bike, you can see most people are using the streets and the roads. And people are more adventurous by foot. So again, I'm just going to kind of flip between a few of these. But what it's showing us is that you do have a great on-street trail system. People aren't necessarily using the open space lands right now. You know, that there is that potential to use those and optimize the trail systems in the open space. Now I'm going to go through 4 slides on what we've heard so far. So again, over the last month or so, we've been doing outreach to city staff, external agencies. So that's East Bay Regional Parks, the City of Dublin, Danville. Any other external agencies?
Fire District.
Fire District, that's right. And Save Mount Diablo as well. And then we've had the Open Space Advisory Committee and yourselves on the commission here. What we did is we sent out either in-person surveys and then some that we sent out via email as well, and had some staff conduct those surveys. The same questions on each, and from those we distilled down some of the main goals that this plan should have. So enhance internal and regional connectivity. So internal to San Ramon, and then regional, like we were saying, the adjacent East Bay Regional Parks District lands. Increase accessibility and safety within the open space and the trails. Promote community engagement and support. So that's a goal of the plan, that community buy-in of the plan itself. Improve wayfinding and communication. I've noticed from some of mine, there's a lot of signs that tell me where I can't go, not a lot of signs that tell me where I can go. So, you know, maybe we can reverse that. And then also provide east-west connections, like we were saying. Some of the topography, Doherty Hills particularly, kind of is just a natural barrier, but there are definitely opportunities to enhance those east-west connections. Some of the core challenges that we've heard, again, this is all from the kind of core stakeholders so far, that funding and long-term maintenance is something that needs to be addressed in the plan. Potential community resistance. We heard that there's been a couple smaller trail projects that met some resistance. So again, that larger buy-in from public outreach is really going to help that. Land access as well. There's a great amount of open space, but there's still a lot of private and HOA lands as well. And then again, that back to communication with the public and how we're messaging the plan. Again, the opportunities, enhancing and building upon the existing trails in that open space system. There is that framework in place. There's access opportunities. They exist in a wide variety of locations. So there's everything from parks that are connected to the existing trail system to access points through neighborhoods, and then even some unmarked areas. So, you know, really kind of being able to enhance those opportunities for access to the trail system itself. Building connections within San Ramon, and then also integrating with the regional trail networks. And then with that, we see critical success factors in the plan is that the final plan, it should be driven by the community with clear vision and goals. So again, as we do this robust public outreach, integrating that with the community vision, effective communication and outreach during that process, and then collaboration and partnerships like we've been doing over the last few weeks as well with, you know, internal staff and external agencies is what we're saying. With that, we see a synthesis of, you know, taking that public outreach that'll be starting now. We've been doing a lot of, in the lower left-hand here, the city external and internal agency input, and then again, our professional experience. So at Design Workshop, we've been doing license plans. Personally, for 25 years, I've been kind of focused my landscape architecture career on trails and open space and parks. So I love these projects. I mean, if I can ride my bike before a presentation, right? Isn't that great? Our next steps, like I was saying, the public survey, we have a draft that we've been running by staff. We're very, very close to having that published. So we just wanted to get some input here, whatever comments we have that would integrate into the public survey, targeting to have that live by May 20th and then running that through middle of July. And then we have community engagement. So we have some events targeted, again, through the middle of July, summer concerts, 5K, 10K, so, Run San Ramon, Art Wind Festival, continuing stakeholder outreach. So not just the internal and external agencies, but we also have community-based organizations to do outreach to, using their networks as well to get the public survey out. And then after that is when we come up with preliminary recommendations before a draft plan. And I think with that, we'll open it up to questions.
All right, thank you, Ben. All right, let's go with qualifying questions. So can I see if I see one? Commissioner Dowlich?
So thank you, but how do you address the slope and the accessibility? I mean, it's a natural part of the landscape. So do you provide other access? I mean, obviously you're not gonna go in and like, take it from a 10 to a 5 with a backhoe.
No.
So, so I mean, how do you address that so that it becomes an effective part of accessibility for the community?
Short answer is we follow the cattle. So
Okay.
no, I mean, because a lot of these, what we're saying, these are ranch roads that literally would just run up and down the ridge lines. And so, with using modern trail techniques of laying out trails, working with the grades, and we've noticed honestly when we're out there, you're on a ranch road, and then all of a sudden you see this nice little single track trail, and it's because the cows were,
Right.
going more gradual through the
Yes,
landscape.
People.
So we see those opportunities in not just laying out new trails, but potentially for, if there's the opportunity to realign existing trails that are out there,
Okay.
to be more just like comfortable for users. Yeah.
Right, so you're looking at what's the natural path that, others have followed and, maybe get off of the
Yeah.
more established trails and create new trails to facilitate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But while doing that, looking, linking in destinations like Key Vista Point or,
Mhm.
a tree that might provide some nice shade. You see that right out there right now. If there's an old ranch road, people are going over to that tree to, sit underneath it or something. So trying to like connect these desired points along the way for trail alignments.
Yeah, and so, from accessibility, I mean, how do you address that both from, differently abled people as well as other means of utilizing the trails? So
Mhm.
are you looking at separate trails or parallel trails, for example, mountain biking?
Mhm.
Versus walking versus differently abled accessibility?
Yeah, well, I mean, that'll come out through the plan. Typically, most of these plans that we do, and even doing another one with National Park Service right now, and keeping all users together actually works better for user conflict because when there's separated trails and designated for other uses, people are always going to poach those, and then that causes more conflict. So, looking at a multi-use trail system for all users. But accessibility, there's the ABA, American Barriers Act, and then Forest Service standards and other national standards, and then also looking at California State Park standards. So I think that's something with the project team and working with staff here on what standards we're going to follow. But there is accessible trail guidelines that are different than if you were to have a ramp, into this building that can't exceed 5%. So we
Right.
do have accessible trail guidelines that we could provide. For instance, a loop that might be, closer to a park that is an accessible dirt trail. We've had some pretty good experience in those that have a firm and stable surface and small sections of the trail that exceed, 10%, and they still meet those accessible guidelines.
Okay, all right, great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Vice Chair Britt?
Hey, this is actually pretty cool. Thanks for presenting this. The question I have for you, and I'm I'm struggling a little bit, and it might just be me. What is the objective? What's the deliverable that you're delivering to the city? So
Yeah.
I read about, I mean, if you said, Steve, without showing me a slide, I mean, verbally, what do we deliver? What are we paying you to do, and what are you delivering to the city?
It's a very
Right.
good question.
I don't mean it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I just, you know, when you give me something, when am I gonna be able to
Yeah,
do it?
yeah.
I've read about connectivity of the trails and
Yeah.
stuff, but what are we getting?
Yeah, for other similar ones that we've done, it's a document it'll literally have, you know, a series of maps, goals and objectives, access points. So areas that are like, it's going to be a plan that is a roadmap for the future on how to implement a trail system that the community wants. I guess that's probably the short answer for it. And
Okay.
it'll have funding objectives. It'll have potential new alignments. We'll probably have some metrics in there of what your existing trail system is for, you know, mileage, for instance, and what the future trail system could be for mileage. And then again, those other opportunities, because there is such great, you know, East Bay Regional Parks and other external connections from the city. So it'll be a document as, a roadmap to implement some of these trails.
And we
they'll-
we prioritize on what you would do first, second, third with that, or
Yes.
based off, like, I know we use heat maps in our business a lot.
Yeah.
But do you do it off that? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So you'll be delivering all that, and then you'll prioritize for the city on what we need to go do.
It will. A lot of times too, we will, you know, it might be a high, medium, low. It might not be like, this is the trail you want
Yeah.
to build first, because you might have a developer that comes in that might be able to fund a trail that we might have put at a medium level or something like that. So yeah, there'll be project specific, and then, you know, kind of benefits and funding mechanisms for each one.
Okay, I think I'm clear on what the deliverable is. Super helpful. And then I don't know if this is scope, but one comment that's happened is parking for trails. I don't know if we take a look at, you know, hey, you know, as we expand and make a trail more desirable, can we handle the parking that may come to it? And do we call that out, and will that be called out in the plan and stuff as well?
That would, and that was what I was getting to is, you know, a trailhead, and
Yeah.
East Bay Regional Parks was calling them staging areas so trailhead would have parking, you know, so we'll do an assessment on which existing trailheads are parks even too, you know, like, you know, when I was at, you know, Tassajara Ridge, for instance, there's like 20 parking spaces there. Like, don't think we have a user demand in this plan, but we will identify where trailheads are that have parking, and then others that are just neighborhood access points, for instance.
Okay, that's super helpful. And
Yeah.
last two questions. I'm assuming Keith or someone's looked at what we're trying to get done with our master. We have a master plan for parks and with open space and trails. So Keith, I'm assuming that's gonna be incorporated into this, right? So we'll be making sure we address what's in the master plan.
Yes,
Okay.
there's the whole section in the Parks Master Plan that we will be addressing those goals, taking a look at it, trying to, for lack of a better term, check off as many boxes from the
Yes.
Parks Master Plan in this, while we have the experts developing the Trails
Perfect.
Master
It'd be cool just if we call it out so people know we're doing it. And then, and the last one I had is on public comment. I read how you're doing surveys and stuff. Are we gonna do like, get people in one of our conference room and have them give a verbal feedback? I tried to look, I saw Art and Win and other stuff, but are we doing like inviting people to come and provide input?
We're doing, well,
I think, yes, to some degree, we're going to need to do that. What that looks like as of right now and when that's taking place, we still need to discuss that. We have meetings every other week, and our meeting next week will be on the outreach
Okay.
community engagement piece.
Okay, if you do that, I'm happy. I'm cool. Thank you so much.
yeah, we have 3 tiers of project partners, if you will. And the third tier is what we're calling community partners. So those are CBOs, or community-based organizations, and other nonprofits. And so those will be more direct. And then these other ones that we're calling here community engagement is the general public.
Yeah, just for those who aren't digitally engaged, I just hope we have some type of forum so they can come in and hear it. Yep. So, okay, cool. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? No other clarifying comment. I don't have any clarifying, but this is a good presentation. Ben, really appreciate that. Okay, do we have any public comment? Do not have any. Okay, any comment? I don't think so, right? No.
Thanks, man. That was fun.
No, this is really good. Oh,
One thing, so, I mean, Keith, when we're talking about the master plan, so I mean, connectivity obviously is one of the key components. You know, what would be one of the other key components? Were there 5, Steve?
I don't have the master plan
Oh, okay,
memorized. I have to
okay.
go pull it up. There's 99 of them, so I haven't memorized them yet.
No, I mean, there's like five
Oh, the-
major.
the four.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
inclusivity. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's four. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you meant every one. Well, I'm like,
Oh,
like
no,
crap.
no, but I expected to have Paul member.
I'm trying to sell laundry soap too.
Disappointed.
So, yeah,
But connectivity obviously is, one of them.
yeah.
That would be addressed here.
Yeah,
Right,
connectivity,
and
that's
under
good.
that, there's a good number of goals that are not program related, that are very specific, such as industry standards for types of trails.
Yeah.
Industry standard for maintenance, things like that, where we're just not the experts, and it's now that we have Ben as our best friend, it's very easier, it's a lot easier to ask him, to find that information or have that information already at his fingertips to
And
include.
the east-west connectivity is one that we were especially, interested in.
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay. All right, great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks, nice job.
All right. Okay, moving on. 7.3 Teen Council Annual Report. Recommendation: receive and approve the Teen Council Annual Report for 24-25 to be forwarded to the City Council for consideration. Introduction by Recreation Supervisor Jessica Reber and presented by Tanushka Chawla, Teen Council Chair.
Well, good evening, Chair Mitra and Commissioners. I really appreciate you having us here before you tonight. As you know, every year we come before you to present what the Teen Council has accomplished. And so tonight we have our 2024-2025 annual report for you. I am happy to, as we have already recognized Tanishka for her service and actually long service. She's been doing Teen Council longer than me. She started as a freshman. So she's had her whole high school term on Teen Council. She's contributed in many ways on many ad hoc committees and has really seen Teen Council all the way through. And so I'm just happy to hand it over to her tonight to talk about the accomplishments of the board in this last year and suggested goals moving forward. Hi, everyone. I'm Tanishka Chawla, and I've had the chance to serve as Teen Council Chair this year. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm excited to walk you through what our team has done this past year and share what we hope to see in the future. So starting with the charge of our council, the San Ramon Teen Council was created in 1994 with the mission to advise the Parks and Community Service Commission and city staff on teen-related issues and recreation programs. We act as liaisons between the teen community and local government, providing input, recommendations, and advocacy on behalf of our peers. So our work includes identifying teen needs and recommending services and programs, facilitating communication between city staff and the youth, and strengthening teen engagement with both civic and community life. So first, just going over our members, our council was composed of 17 members and 2 alternatives representing California High School, Doherty Valley High School, and Quarry Lane High School. And our executive team is myself as chair, Selma Barney as our vice chair, and Surabhi Verma as our secretary. So to accomplish our goals for this year, we appointed 5 ad hoc committees to focus on wellness, community outreach, technology education, recognition, and outreach. Going more into detail of those, we have our wellness committee, our Outstanding Teen Citizenship Award committee, our senior tech day committee, our Wish Tree committee, and the ambassador program committee. Each one was led by a council member, and it gave us the chance to dig deeper into our specific goals, as these were used to tackle our suggested goals for this year. So starting with our Teen Wellness Committee, our chair is Harshita, and our committee goal is to improve mental health across San Ramon through activities that promote connection and relationship building. So what we've kind of accomplished this year is that we've worked with the wellness centers at our schools and showed up at events like mental health days and wellness fests. Additionally, we would have booths at these events sharing what Teen Council is, while also hosting a prompt for our wish tree. In the past, we've also tied orange yarn around our wrists of the individuals at these booths for Unity Day, and we also ran social media prompts encouraging gratitude and reflection during these times. Ultimately, we just kind of focused on creating a more positive environment for our teens to feel supported by working with our school's wellness centers as they are already established. Now going on to our Outstanding Teen Citizenship Award Committee. So this year, this is chaired by Shreya. And this year, the AUTCA committee had the job of reviewing 11 amazing applicants, and we selected Kenneth Sarup from Doherty Valley High School for his nonprofit work with the Books of Barrios. He donated over 15,000 books and thousands of dollars to supplies to underserved communities while also supporting our local schools. And adding on to this, we also made a few updates to our AUTCA process to make it smoother for the next year. So essentially our main thing is that we are going to be releasing the applications for AUTCA earlier to allow students to have the summer to work on their project to develop it further. So we do hope to get more applications in the future year. Additionally, the committee recommends that the 2025 to 2026 council form the ad hoc committee at the very start of the school year. So this group will be consisted of 4 to 5 members, hopefully representing different schools to ensure a more efficient and diverse review process. Now moving on to our Senior Technology Day Committee, which is chaired by Tricia. So this committee ran 4 Senior Tech Days at the Alcosta Senior Center. They help seniors with everything from simple tech issues to online safety. These days were super special because they helped our committee members build connections with the teens and with the seniors, and it honestly just made the connection between generations and made technology a little bit less intimidating for our seniors. This year, we also implemented something new, which was a workshop program to tackle common questions and needs and based on what they typically saw during these Senior Technology Days. So this is something that we hope to take to future years, and we are planning to expand the workshop program by implementing new topics. Going on to our Wish Tree Committee, which is chaired by Rhea. So the Wish Tree was all about letting teens share their thoughts on monthly topics like stress, mental health, and environmental action. So we decided to try an online version of this year, and we did get a great response. But the in-person version in the past few years has not got a lot of attention, unfortunately, because a lot of teens just don't really take the time out of their day to come visit the tree. So our Teen Council Wish Tree Committee is suggesting that we keep the digital version, but retire the future tree for future years, because we don't really see a big impact on our teen population with it. And then here are some of the Wish Tree prompts that we have done, and we're just going to be translating this into more of a digital format for the next few years. So using our Instagram add-ons, Instagram notes, and just ways that people can type in their answer on social media itself. So it's more of an accessible way for them to share their perspectives. And now looking at our ambassador program. So this is chaired by Surabhi. Our ambassador program grew a lot this year. We had representatives all the way from Cal High, Doherty Valley, Quarry Lane, Doris Eden, Pine Valley, Windermere Ranch, and Gill Ranch. So this is a lot bigger reach than we have had in previous years. So what they did was they helped share what we were doing and brought ideas from their classmates, especially the middle schools were able to give us this fresh perspective as we all are high schoolers. They also jumped into committee work and helped us make our programs better. This year, the ambassadors also had to sit in at Teen Council meetings, so they kind of got a sense of how the Teen Council processes work if they were to apply for future years. And their main project was a research project that they worked on where they collected surveys and they collected data from high schools and middle schools around our district. But next year, we do plan to have the ambassador programs partner up with the Teen Council ad hoc committees so they can have more of a direct reach and they can have more of a greater impact because they will actually have an avenue to make their impact in with a greater amount of people. And then here are some activities that our ambassadors had this year, just kind of bonding and also being able to create those forms and those bonds. They have the opportunity to create a big impact on our teen community. And now going on to our volunteer activities and community engagement. So each council member did at least 8 hours of volunteering every month. So some of the events we participated in include the Teen Job Fair, Unity Day, Senior Tech Days, the Tri-Valley Roundtable, and more. And of course, Unity Day, where we wore orange and posted online to promote kindness and inclusion. So essentially, our Teen Council is very involved in our community, our school community, and also our city community. And we just find ways to ensure that we can reach a greater amount of people. And then here are suggested goals for the 2025 to 2026 school year. So I'm just going to quickly read through them. First, to continue to collaborate with staff on ways to support teens through partnership opportunities and resource sharing, including the addition of resource information on the srteen.org webpage. Our second goal is to research and executive partnerships with local organizations, businesses, and committees to promote teen wellness, mental health, and recreation. Our third goal is to continue Senior Technology Days and explore other opportunities to collaborate with the Senior Advisory Committee and the Alcosta Senior and Community Center. Our fourth goal is to continue to collaborate with local organizations and youth advisory committees to gain insight and knowledge into addressing the needs of our teen population. Number 5, to continue the Teen Council Ambassador Program, ensuring early connection to existing ad hoc committees as a framework to increase the ambassador's involvement at the Teen Council and ad hoc committee meetings. Number 6, to continue the Outstanding Teen Citizenship Award, seek partnerships with local organizations, and accept submissions to restart the Teens in Action page, which highlighted the accomplishments of our teens in our community. Number 7, to explore collaborating on a project with the Arts Advisory Committee and engaging with the new Doherty Valley Community Arts Center as a potential space for outreach engagement. Number 8, to continue to pursue a stronger social media presence for the Teen Council using Instagram and other prospective platforms by developing a social media content calendar and introducing stories, reels, and collaboration posts, and appointing a social media content advisor. Number 9, enhance presence in the community and outreach by appointing an ad hoc committee to connect with local groups and clubs and sharing existing events, clubs, and volunteering opportunities via existing social media channels. Number 10, increase engagement with the middle school population through the ambassador program and work with the staff to create opportunities for high school students to connect with peers and middle school students in a mentorship capacity, teaching specific technical skills. And our last goal, number 11, to continue to diversify and increase outreach for all existing and potential Teen Council related applications and surveys. So now I just want to give a congratulations to all of our seniors who will be graduating this year. First, we have Surabhi Verma, who will be going to UC Berkeley. And we have Eliana Horn, who will be going to the University of Pennsylvania. We have Rhea Bondri, who is going to now Boston University. Harshita, who is currently undecided. Daphne, who will be going to the University of California, Los Angeles. Shreya Arun, who will be going to Washington University. Trisha, who will be going to Northeastern University. Isha Bindlish, who will be going to the University of Southern California. And I will be going to UT Austin. Okay. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions or any suggestions, please let me know. That's all.
Thank you, Tanishka. All right, okay, so this is a forwarding to the City Council. So let's go with the process. Any clarifying questions? No? All right.
I do have a question.
Sure, please go ahead.
Have you've participated in the teen job fair, correct? And could you give me your projection on, because for the last 2 years, we've gone down in, students coming. So we have another meeting coming up in September. And so we're trying to find out what can we do different? What should we change? Should we continue it? Should we drop it? So I just am asking you as one of the teams, what would you recommend, or what do we need to change or improve?
Sure. I definitely think that we should continue the program. I know when I went to it last year, I had a really great time, especially with the other opportunities it has. For example, the resume reading, the mock interviews. I think it's a really good opportunity. And I know 2 years ago when I did attend, there was a lot of people there. This year, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. So was the attendance lower compared to last year?
Yes.
Significantly?
Yes.
I think one thing that I saw was just the marketing. I know last year when I attended, I saw flyers of this, the event around not just my campus, but also around Starbucks and other places. But this year, I feel like it wasn't advertised as much in that sense, which I think is something that the Teen Council can also take on for next year. But I think just the main thing is advertising, because I know that this is an opportunity that a lot of students like to attend. And I know I really saw that 2 years ago. But I also think marketing it to more of a younger, the younger population, because I do think that it's solely marketed to high schoolers. And I think a lot of upperclassmen see this, and a lot of upperclassmen already do have jobs. So I think looking more towards the lower classmen, finding ways to engage them, which I honestly think is something that our council will probably take on in the next year to figure out a more effective way to really reach many people through the program. But I don't think that the program is the issue. I think that the program is great, and I think it really offers many opportunities. I think it's just the fact of marketing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. The ambassadors definitely. Yeah, for sure.
The only problem is if the lower grades, then if with the vendors that are there,
16 plus is a lot, right?
that you have the 12, 13, 14, they have nothing for them.
Yeah.
So that is a problem there.
The limit is usually 16 plus, right? I think that's what I saw. Okay.
Yep. All right, any other question? Nope. All right, let's go to public comments. No public comments. Any commissioner comment? Yep. Commissioner Osler?
Thank you so much for your service for the last 4 years. I think it's fabulous that you started as a freshman and you've now completed as a senior. You've probably seen a lot and grown a lot through this experience. So thank you so much for your time and your willingness to stick with it. I just had one, I loved your presentation. I love all the accomplishments that you guys did this year. One suggestion perhaps for 2025 to 26 is number 9, enhance presence in the community and outreach. I was thinking about, we have 4 foundations here in the city of San Ramon that support the seniors, the library, the arts, and the historic. And it would be really great to get the teen council integrated on a certain level to maybe helping out at some of the events that these foundations are promoting and doing, because the work that the foundations are doing are to support these areas that the Parks Commission supports as well. So I think that that might be just something to kind of put out there. And I know Jessica Reber is here too, and that could maybe be something that comes up in your conversation as you plan your number 9 goal. But as I was looking at this, it could actually fit into a couple of the others too. But thank you. That's my only recommendation, and thank you for all your hard work.
All right, Vice Chair Breed?
Yeah. Hey, she took my idea. So, no, the only thing, I was gonna build on her idea is I would think it'd be, hey, Jessica, I think it'd be really cool if they had their meetings at the farm with a meeting at the senior center. So instead of just being a conference room, well, I'm just building on what you said, but anyway, so, how do we get the teens exposed more to what's going on in the city, whether they volunteer or not, but they get exposure to the farm, they get exposure to the library, they get exposure to the senior center instead of just sitting in a conference room. And I still believe there's an opportunity on how we give them exposure to the city a little bit. Does the city manager come in and talk about, this is a city, this is how we work, this is a little bit of budget, so we get them a little more in depth on kind of what the city is, so anyways, I think it'd be really cool if even if we just had meetings with the foundations, like with the senior center. I'm sure Carol could do a great job talking about the foundation, about the center, what it does, and anyways, you got the point. That way, I think hope it will lead to more involvement in the city, right? On the first point, I was going to say, nice job. So it's been fun. Like last year I got to sit through the teen council, see you guys grow, and I really think some of the projects you guys take on is great. I think the work that Jessica does in nourishing you guys in great subjects and keeping you on track, and also I like the whole when you have the multi-city teams together, because I think there's a lot of good sharing reply that Jessica facilitates, and I know it's a lot of work. So good work, Jessica, and all that stuff too. Thank you. So, but thanks for all your guidance and leading to. I know it's hard leading that group sometimes because other people have to multitask probably because of homework and stuff. But keeping one on track, I think, is really great. So thank you so much, and you guys got a lot done, and I'm super impressed. So thanks a ton.
Yeah.
And good luck at UT, man.
Thank
That's awesome.
you.
It's a tough school. Welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Levy?
Sure. Yeah, no, I'll echo my fellow commissioners, Tanishka. A terrific job with the teen council, with your leadership of it, and actually just terrific job to the teen council as a whole. I mean, this is a list of incredibly meaningful, in-depth accomplishments and programs, and the scale of it is just mind-blowing to me, especially considering all of you guys are under so much pressure to succeed academically and with all your other extracurriculars. That the fact that this kind of body of work gets pulled together each year is just amazing to me. Yeah, and I'll just echo what my other commissioners said as well in terms of I would love to see more educational opportunities built in for the teen council to learn more about the foundations or more about general city operations. Maybe have senior city staff from other departments come in and just give kind of a brief overview to the teen council at least every so often, just to kind of give a little bit more community education, and so the teens kind of have a better understanding of their role in this community, which is a deeply important one. So that's what I got. Great job, Tanishka. And I'll miss having you sitting next to me. So there's that too.
All right, thank you. So any other comments? No? Okay, all right. So Anushka, really want to thank you again for your service, not only for the last 1 year as a chair, but also the 4 years as a teen council. This is an amazing commitment. So thank you personally, and all the best for your new future. all the other teen council members and the committee chairs, I would like to thank you all through you. Thank you all. It's a great work we've done year over year, and Jessica as well to guiding them. Thank you as well. And just it's amazing amount of work knowing I had two senior girls in my in my house, so I know how busy you guys are now all through your high school. But having had that aside, you had all the other applications, college applications going on last year, plus you had all other extracurricular activities and doing this. So thank you. Thank you. I would like to thank you to all the teen council members, current one, and all the best to the coming ones on that. All right. Okay. So we need a motion
Yeah, I'll do it.
to, and this is to forward to the city council.
Yeah, I
for
move
consideration.
that we approve the teen council report and forward it to the city council.
Second.
Thank you, Will. Oh, sorry, I hit my liver.
Yep.
Sorry, Kathy. Thank you. Got to hit twice. Okay.
Thank you so
Yes, sure.
much.
Thank you. Pass. All right. Item number 8, staff report, recreation maintenance and operational report.
Well, we have lots and lots of things in that report, so hopefully you got a chance to read it. A couple of things just to highlight that if you didn't get a chance to go back and take a look at. The TikTok teen cooking class, super fun, super way to engage teens to let them learn about cooking, but by using TikTok recipes. So really good, cute little article on that. Also, our intro to birding class, the very first one. You know, sometimes we start new programs, you don't know what's going to happen. It's a little risk area, but 27 of 31 slots filled with everybody clamoring for more birding classes. So this goes right in line with the master plan, which talks about nature. It's all for you, Steve.
Talks about nature.
Yeah, it talks about nature and connection to nature, and these classes are just hitting it together. And so that area really resonates with the community. And the Trails Master Plan you guys heard about tonight, all those things are coming together. And as you see, we're at our 5th year of our master plan. This kind of this role of nature, connectivity, trails, all the themes. So excited about that birding class. Also, I know the San Ramon Library's 3D printers. So cool that you can now send a print to the 3D printer. I think that might be my new retirement plan. Let's just sit at home and go, hey, I can make things. So check out that article, give you a little bit more information on that. Our public services department is amazing. And the high school, the local high schools needed sand volleyball courts for girls. They were using ours, but the nets were too low to be the standard. So public services jumped on it and got those grommets put up higher so that we could have the appropriate size nets so the girls sand volleyball teams could practice. They also fixed the giant bucket at the pool. So, you know, the giant blue bucket in our plaything, it had started to become degraded. It needed to be fixed. They got it all down. It's all fixed and shined and ready to fill with water and then tip and spill onto the play area below, which everybody loves. And then I think most of you know also that the sheep fence, the sheep pasture fence at Forest Home Farm was also getting kind of shabby and degraded, and public services got that all lined up. It is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, and the sheep are safe and secure, and it's a good looking fence now that's actually on the property lines correctly. So all told, some really great stuff in the rec report today.
All right, thank you. Item number 9, commission liaison reports and announcements. So we'll start from Julia. Yep.
I'm going to go backwards just slightly in our rec report. Because the event happened on April 26th, it was at the end of the month, we didn't get an opportunity to really expand on the sheep shearing event, and that's coming up, I've been promised, next month. But I wanted to give you guys just a quick overview. We had about 1,300 to 1,500 people at the farm that day. We sold 600 tickets in advance, and it was a diverse group of people that attended, all ages, and we even had a senior community had a bus that delivered a group of seniors to come to this event. So that was really cool. We had, let's see here, sheep shearing, dog herding of the sheep. We had crafts using the wool from the sheep, the fleece for all the children. We had quilting, embroidery. We had gardening demonstrations, blacksmith. The 4-H were there walking the animals around the farm, face painting, live music, food, drinks, and free tours of the glass house. It was a very successful event. We were a little worried because it was really cold that morning and it got really drizzly when we were just opening up the gates, but people came. It was a steady flow, people from completely around the Bay Area. So I just wanted to give a shout out, and we'll be hearing more about that next month. Open Space Advisory Committee meeting was this past Monday, and it was kind of a little bit of a quick meeting. We discussed and provided feedback on the OSAC fall hiking series. That's going to go in the winter program. And then we talked about the Open Space Advisory Meeting Day, looking at Mondays, because we have holidays that hit in January and February, kind of like, how do we want to deal with that? Because we don't want to cancel our meetings. So we made some decisions around that. And then we discussed our upcoming committee presentations, giving Brad and Jessica, the team, their ideas on who we'd like to hear from this coming year. So that was Open Space. And then last night, Kyle told me he attended this 4+ hour meeting for the city council. I watched it. I did the Slacker method. I watched it on YouTube today. But so if I miss anything, Kyle, please jump in. But a lot on the agenda was mostly just discussions, and there were really not a lot of decisions that had been made, except for the first one, 8.1, public hearing on the approval of the general plan amendment for the downtown mixed use, the FAR, the state wide floor area ratio, and that passed. That was discussed last 2 meetings ago. And then they had a long discussion on the non-retail policy discussion around removal of the 25% non-retail clause, and that's still up in discussion. No decisions made, just Cindy Yee presented that and received feedback from the council. And then the budget was the other piece, and there was a lot of discussion on that, and some concerns from the public were around the police force, reducing staff, but there was some discussion around the reasoning for that, and it's really not, we're not losing staff, they're just revising the numbers for unfilled positions. And let's see, Measure J was the other part of that for public works and the roads and things, because that money will eventually run out. And the new business was about status of the city's vacancies, recruitment and retention. And it's an annual process for them to receive a report from the human resources manager, and San Ramon's doing really, really well with retention and recruitment and with filling vacancies. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you. Vice Chair Bird.
Alrighty. So, big news. I went to the cricket pitch grand opening and I hit the pitch, whatever that is. It's called Council Member Shadar pitched me one, then he actually threw a real one. So after I hit it. So anyways, good job to the city for the grand opening cricket pitch. I thought that was excellent. And I thought the city did a nice job and turnout was really nice. Also went to sheep sharing, and that's the foundation.
Thank you, Steve, for working at the event.
I was the longtime bartender, so and I was teaching Mayor Abrams how to use a square, and that worked out perfect. So, but I thought the event was really well attended, and you guys did a great job. My friend over there was there for a long time, helping out, directing traffic. She says no lines, so you manage the line pretty well, Becky. So I appreciate you jumping in on that. So, anyways, I did a good job, and I always feel that they do a really nice job getting people in the city, and it always amazes me how crowded we get at the farm and how important the farm is to this community and how we preserve the history. So, And as that night, if there's not a lot, I was with my friend Commissioner Levy at the Library Foundation, right? And that was an, I ran by, I forgot. I was, you know, I had a glass of wine. So, sorry, Carol. So, that's all I can take. Okay, well, Julie. Okay.
Commissioner Caney was also there, Steve, just for the record.
So I'm kidding you. So, by the way, if anyone's wondering, Julia and Carol were also there. So, and I know Will was there in spirit anyway. So we were all there and had, but my point was, I thought it was a really cool idea. You did a great job, especially given the history, and then also the entertainment was phenomenal. He was wonderful. So I'm not sure what you thought, but I really thought it was great. And I thought it was, I don't know how it would do that, and if the Library Foundation made any money, but yeah, I thought it was a really good event. So
It's like you were there in spirit or spirit came in you.
I was in both, actually. I had the buzz of sheep cheering in my head. So, and then I also went to a city council meeting. So, and William may need to help me out one part of it because I don't understand the whole land part of it. So the first part is they made a team council. I went to the April 22nd city council meeting. They made the team council appointments. There was recognition of the San Ramon Islamic Center, which I thought was really well done. And then Mark, I can't remember his last name, I pronounced Tasania, gave a wonderful update on what he's doing within our congressional district and some of the work he's doing to get some transportation funding for the city, paying for the bridges. Also talked about future bridges on crossing from, yeah, see, excellent. The crossing over Crow Canyon. So I thought, and how important that was. So it was a really wonderful update and really great really great questions from our council members. Also, as most of you may know, it was, volunteer week at the end of April, and I just got to look it up so I don't forget it. But Carol Rowley was recognized from the California Parks and Recreation Society. She was the society champion. Did I get that right? Yeah. So sorry, got it down. So I thought that was pretty cool. But for the city to spend time just recognize the importance of the volunteers and what the volunteers do to the city is massively important. If you wonder if we got all the hours and we actually paid people, it's pretty phenomenal. So they took time to do that. And then all our fees were approved. By the way, just a factoid, we have 1,001 fees. There are 15 new fees and 508 unchanged fees. So I didn't know that. So all our fees were approved. And then really the last conversation, this is Will, you may need to help me out a little bit, but as Bishop Ranch is looking, or Sunset's looking at, right now, I think it's our 1.5 acres going down to 0.5 as we look at consolidation of housing. So remember that as we make the zoning changes, there needs to be 5 public hearings. So I think we had our second of 5 public hearings on that. I think second of 5 public hearings on that change within the zone. So, and I need to get more familiar with it, more educated on what it's doing. So there's some conversation on that because I really, density. What's that? Yeah, from a density standpoint within the city center proper. So,
well, there was some legislation in Sacramento.
Yeah. So it's letting Sunset get a little more dense with some of the building, and they came to the city council to do that. So it's the second of 5 hearings. So those of the city want to continue to provide input, look for that on your agenda. And lastly, I don't know if anyone knows, but Kathy is retiring. So, and I was sitting there thinking, this is our last meeting, right? I don't know how many years. I just used 25. So okay, so let's just assume you're at 25. So it's 29. I didn't know. So I think I just stick with 25. But you think about Kathy retiring, right? And I just think about how many parks meetings has Kathy sat through, right? Let's just assume that it's a 3.5-hour meeting. So Kathy sat through 1,050 hours worth of meetings, which is about 44 days of her life she's been in these meetings, right? Just a little factoid of how she spends her time, right? 44 days, and that's at 25. So it's probably about, we'll just round up to 50 days of her life she has spent in this room or a room like this in facilitating a Parks Commission meeting, dealing with goofballs like me, trying to keep them straight and educating them. But we cannot. So first of all, Kathy, I can't still, like, I get a little teary eyed, but I can't believe you're retiring because you're, and I know you got your whole celebration stuff, but you're, for us not to say like, this is your last meeting and recognize you for being you. And, you know, you and I talked about, you know, I told Kathy, like, you ever look at a gravestone, it says Steve Breed, 1962, let's say I die in 2050, but the dash mark is the legacy, right? And that's, Kathy's legacy is this dash mark and what she's done for the city. And you look at the people sitting in the audience, Brad, the people she's brought on board and trained and developed. And, you know, it's her and I, like, I wrote her a long note, but her and I have a long conversation about one day about what she's done. And I said the last couple, you know, this last month, just take a break and just look around and take it in and say, man, yeah, I did that. You know, and it's okay to say that. I know your team did it, but you're part of doing that. Some of these parks and stuff like that. So, you know, Kathy, I can't, you know, I'm not the city to thank you for all this stuff, but Steve Breed, as a citizen of San Ramon, can't thank you enough for what you've done. And I bought you, not that we bought you, because I had to call I was going to get you like bamboo, but I had to call my flower guru, and she said to get you an orchid. So, you know, I don't, you need to know, you know, how thankful we are as human beings for everything you did for the city and for the years you gave the city. And I know your staff thanks you, but don't, you know, don't rush and think that we want you to leave, we want you to come back, but, you know, just know how thankful we are for you, and we're thankful for your, you know, your partner for all the times you give us, and your daughter for letting us bar you for as long as we do and all the events. And, you know, it takes a lot from your family time. So, you know, thank you so much for everything you're doing. This is just a small token with my flower guru as an expert from all of us up here for what you've done. So anyways, good luck. Let's say
Yeah, we had a separate section for that, by the way.
no one told me. So, yeah.
Okay, all right, let's finish this one. Commissioner Liaison, so Commissioner Gorlich.
Well, you know, as usual, we already reenacted the Arts Advisory. Most of the meetings, so it takes the burden off of me. But we also did have re-engagement with the two artists for the Stairway project, which was very enlightening and a lot of fun. We had the new members that came into that first meeting too, so that was exciting. And then Friday night we had the jewelry show, which has great attendance, and the Rich View Room was filled. So that was very
All right. Commissioner Lopez Lucy. Commissioner Levy?
Sure. I was unable to attend last month's teen council meeting due to a family commitment, so I'll let Student Commissioner Chalma do an update on that. I do want to say again, for the Library Foundation's Night at the Stacks event last month, thank you to all the commissioners who were able to attend. It was much appreciated. Yes? Yeah. Even the ones that Steve didn't mention were there. Yeah. But no, they were there. It was a fun event. The foundation did well. We were very happy with it. Yeah. I also want to give a special shout out to Keith, who's still here, and his team for all the assistance they provided with actually making that work. It was an incredible, well-oiled machine. They did so much, like, you know, from nonstop. And then the cleanup afterwards, after this big, long, exhausting event, within less than an hour after the event wrapped up, you could not even tell there had ever been anything in that library that night. It was amazing. So thank you, Keith, for all that you do, and thank you to all the people who helped you with that. It was much appreciated. And that's what I got.
All right. Go ahead. Thank you. Planning Commission meeting, May 6th, 2025. There was one big agenda, which was Climate Action Plan, CAP, update draft. It was by Ryan Driscoll, an associated planner, and presented by a consultant. So the main thing that was discussed is greenhouse gas, they're calling it CHG, emission inventory, forecast, and target. So this is part of our strategy for 2040 general plan. And there are some statewide SB 32 and AB 1279 that was around this that we agreed on to follow. SB 32 is reduction of GHG, which is greenhouse gas, level to 40% below what we had in 1990. Okay, so that is the first one. That is the target. AB 1279 reduce GHG by 85% below 1990 by 2045 and carbon neutrality. So those are the targets that our city is shooting for. One is for, I think there are two targets, 2030 and 2045. That was the two targets. CHG emission reduction measures. There are a lot of development reduction. They talked about a lot of series of measures that have been taken. Baseline inventory has been taken, and the projection has been done to 2040 to reduce to actually meet the target of AB 1279. Climate Action Plan implementations and monitoring is being done as well. And I think there was a lot of presentation have given for how this we are controlling and what we need to do and how do we can hit that target by 2045. Timeline wise, implementation in phases. For, as I said, there are two targets. One is for 2030 targets. If needed, there is a yearly review, and if needed, we can update that. And before that was agreed on. And then there was a timeline wise, this draft that was presented to Planning Commission will be open for review until May 25th. That is tomorrow for public review. May 15th. May 15th to May 29th will be developed the final CAP. That is Climate Action Plan, and June 10th will be presented to City Council for adoption. So there was also, along with that SB 32 and AB 1279, there are some community goals that were also been discussed, like lower energy cost, reduction air pollution, support economic development, and improve quality of life, which is kind of aligned with our master plan as well. So that's pretty much it. It was just one big item at the agenda, not a big meeting, but I think that was a pretty interesting one. Yep, a lot of things. All right. There was one item that we wanted to discuss. Let's do that. It was not agenda. Intentionally, it was not put in agenda. So again, Kathy, so we would like to go over, and this is your last meeting. So it has been amazing, especially for me personally. I mean, we will go around the table. I think everybody would like to contribute. No holding. I just told you. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It was a very good. No, it was a very good fit. So for me personally, I would say it was an amazing journey with you, and especially for the last 1 year being a chair, new one. I think you have hand-holded me so much and helped me. That's really thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. As a city, the San Ramon are actually recognized for their parks and how we maintain the parks, how we grew the parks, how we support the community, and amazing number of programs that happen. I think you and your staff have been doing it forever. We sit here, review it, all the reports and everything, but you and your staff actually doing the things on that. So, and you as a leader have been amazing for over 30 years, that's what you said? So that is amazing. So we will definitely miss you. We hope you are around, and also your staff. and everybody would definitely need that. I know going forward, we have a good, strong hand so that is we know that, but still we will definitely need it. Okay. Thank you, Kathy, from my side. Anybody wants to? Julia, want to add something?
That you always amaze me when it's a difficult conversation. You have a magic spell to be able to hear people reiterate it in a different way, and you get people on the same page. You're very talented, and thank you for all your years of service here in San Ramon, for building a fantastic team. Everybody on your team is amazing, and your leadership has been outstanding. So don't be a stranger. You can still get up for the, any of the runs and show up at 7:15 and, stand in the cold with us. We'd love to have you with us, but if you don't, that's okay. You're there in spirit. So thank you, Kathy, for everything.
All right, Bree, do you want to add something? Dave?
I think I've said
No,
that.
definitely, go ahead, please.
I'm good. Just like a drink, I'm done.
All right, come on.
Well, I would like to say thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Everybody else, says something, but I've worked with Kathy since you were in the arts, when I started and being on the art committee and eventually worked up to here. But you're just a remarkable person, and you just make it so easy to communicate, and you're always positive. So my love to you and for everything that you've done. It's been a wonderful ride. So wish you well in your retirement, and have fun and go on some nice trips and whatever.
Commissioner Dolly?
Oh, it's okay?
Please. Please.
Okay. Well, I've known Kathy since did a lot of work on the Black Party, which was a lot of fun. I started by getting bands and hiring musicians and then got roped into all this other stuff. The most important thing that Kathy's always helped me with was not what to say, but what not to say.
That's a very important thing, though.
And in fact, she's been more consistent than all these other people I've been involved. And has always been not just a colleague, but a friend, someone I could always go to for advice and just to have that conversation. Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you. Yeah. All right. A lot of emotions involved, definitely, Kathy. You can see that. So,
Sure. I, like Commissioner Breed, also sent Kathy a note earlier just expressing my appreciation for the incredible leadership and efforts that she's brought to the department, to the city, to the people who live in it. I'm truly appreciative of how welcoming she was to me when I joined the commission, and how steady of a hand in terms of guidance she provided. The level of professionalism and calmness, and just being able to explain difficult conversations in a calm, reasonable manner is just incredible. I mean, I've seen very few people who can do it as well as you can, Kathy. And I wanted to call that out. And let's be brutally honest for a moment. I mean, I'm sure dealing with commissioners like us is probably annoying from time to time, but you never showed any sort of annoyance or impatience with us. You always, given us all the information that we need or want, and made us feel, good about asking it, made us feel smarter afterwards. And I'll miss that. I'm very happy for you, and I'm glad that you get to leave on your own terms and enjoy a well-deserved retirement. So thank you.
Student Commissioner Chawla? Brad, you want? All right. I would like to open it for if anybody else from the audience want to add something. Go ahead. They will do.
Yeah,
All right.
may I say something?
Yes, please,
If,
please.
if I may, if I may. It has been such an honor and a privilege, honestly, to work with each and every one of you. It's a different relationship that I have with each of you. And I've learned as much from you as you've probably learned from me. And I think that's the strength, honestly, the strength of this commission and the relationship with the Parks and Community Services Department staff is what makes the magic. It's that ability to bring all your thoughts and ideas together with all the thoughts of the staff and then be able to develop them into the amazing thing that Sanramon is. So it's hard to leave, but it's also time. There's some great people coming right behind me who are ready to step into bigger and better leadership roles, and they will take great care. But I will be back. I'm sure I will be at some of those runs. I might walk them though, because I think I need to exercise. And I'm sure that I will be at the foundation events, and I hope to come back and volunteer and be a part of things. But I'm astounded and honored. It's so sweet of you all, and such beautiful things that you just said. So my heart will always be in San Ramon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for your amazing service for the city. Thank you.
Put us on wanted. We'll see that in post office.
All right. Is there anything else before we adjourn? Adjourning. Okay. All right. So here we are, City of San Ramon Parks and Community Services Commission meeting, regular meeting on May 14th. We are closing it 9:32 p.m. Thank you and good.